What's going on, people? I was asked a question on my Fearless J 1111 channel, and I'm going to do my best to give an answer. The only thing I could give is my opinion on this. Now, if you have not subscribed to that channel, please feel free to do so. Fearless J 1111. She asked a question, Fearless, how do you think black men feel about abortion? Now, this question is not a question that can only be directed towards the so-called black men, but this could be addressed to anyone, and it's by an individual basis. Each person have their own idea, their own opinions, their own moral values, so to speak. But as a whole, and I can't speak for all black men, I can only speak according to what I see and what I get from the comments of many black men and even black women as how black men feel about abortion. But it's by individual basis. I've always been against abortion. Always. I've always felt that there's too much birth control out there for a person not to protect themselves. Unfortunately, many men always leave it up to the woman to make sure that either she's taking birth control or she had her tubes tied. And then you have women that leave it up to men to put on a condom. And she trusts him with the condom that he uses, although that condom may be too small, or that condom may have purpose holes in them. And I say purpose holes because there are guys that poke holes in condoms to get women pregnant. And then there are women that poke holes in condoms to trap that man. Okay, but when it comes to how black men feel about abortion, that's by an individual basis. Now, I'm going to read the whole thing. Fearless, how do you think black men feel about abortion? Even the ones who don't want the child, don't love the mother, etc., etc., especially if their girlfriend and wives have aborted their children while they were together. Do you think that most men or most the men end up hating and resenting their mother or their woman for doing it? I would love to hear your thoughts. That's by an individual basis. Now, as a group of black men, I will say that. I will say this. Me coming up in time past, there was a time that black men wanted children. They were always, asking a woman, begging a woman, pleading with her to have his seed. Could you have my baby? Have my baby. I want you to be the mother of my child. And there's a lot of guys that played games with the woman's mind. He knew that she wanted a child. So he would use that as leverage to play with her emotions and to play with her feelings. So when he recognized that he hurt her in some kind of way, then he would play that lovey-dovey role, kissing on her, feeling on her, petting her, touching her, and then he says, in her ear, let's have a baby. Knowing in his heart of hearts that either he's not ready to be a father or he really don't want the child. I think, in my opinion, I think most black men, since she's asking about black men, I think that most black men already know in their heart if they want to be a father to a woman's child. I think they already know. I think they already know even before that child is conceived. He already knows at some level that he's a deadbeat. He already knows that he's going to run out and leave the responsibility to that woman. He knows already. So I grew up in an era where men value their children. Now, you're going to always have these no good bums that run out on their children for whatever reason. And I'm not ignoring the fact that many men aren't there because the mother pushed them away or the mother took the child or turned the child against him. That's not what this video is about. I understand. So brothers, when you comment the video, you don't have to say that, because I'm full aware of the women that play games with children and use children as pawns. But when it comes to abortion in this day and time that we're living in today, I think most men, most black men are down for abortions. Even if he says that he don't want his child aborted, because now he's trying to play the good guy role. So the woman knows, she knows that he don't want that child just by his reaction when she first tells him that I'm pregnant, we're going to have a baby, or however it is she tells him. She watches his reaction, his body language, his facial expression, the tone of his voice. And she can tell right then and there if he want that child. She may not even understand the fact that she discerned that he don't want to be there, maybe on some level. So within her heart, and it's not an excuse for abortion, but in her heart, she's thinking, I don't want to be in that number of single parent moms. I love this man. I want this man to be in my life and in this child's life. I want a family. Many women want a family. Many black men want a family. So she knows in her heart if he wants to be there or not. Even his lifestyle is an indication whether or not he want to be there for his children. Lifestyle meaning drug dealing, gang banging, in and out of prison, because you can't be a father in prison. You can't do that. You just can't do that. I know there's people that's trying to do that, and then when they get out, they want to try to play the father role, and then the child wants nothing to do with them because the child don't know you. You didn't grow up with that child, or that child did not grow up with you. But when it comes to black men and how they feel about abortion, I think that the majority of black men in this day and time, in 2018, is down for it. Because, and there's no excuse for that. Understand what I'm saying. There's no excuse at all for abortion. I'm completely and totally against abortion. And there's quite a few so-called black men that's like me. To the point where if the woman speaks about abortions, there are black men that would say, well, listen, just carry the child and then legally sign him over or her over into my custody. And there's black females that don't want to do that. And so what they do, to another question she asked, another part of the question was, she go ahead and abort that child. Now, me, in my own personal opinion on this, if a woman were to ever abort my child, Me personally, and I can't speak for all black men, and I'm sure there's a lot of brothers out there that feel the same way I do. They think the same way I do. But if I learned that a woman aborted my child, in other words, she refused to give birth. She claims she loved me, but she don't love me enough to give birth to my seed. Although I'm saying legally sign him over to me. If you don't feel you're ready to be a mom, sign him over into my custody. And she goes ahead and kill that baby, murder that baby anyway. I want nothing to do with her. As a matter of fact, to your question, it says, especially if their girlfriend and wives have aborted their children while they were together, do you think that most of the men end up hating and resenting their women for doing it? Yes. I know my own personal, my personal opinion is I would resent her. I would end up hating her because you killed a part of me. You killed a part of us. You claim you love me, but you didn't love me enough to give birth to my child. Even after I said, don't kill the child, I will take custody of that child. And there are black men that's like that. There are black men that want that child, and they say, if you have that baby, legally sign him over to me. But because of the selfishness, and I know this is not about the woman, but because of the selfishness of a lot of black females out there, they say, and I've heard black women say this, I refuse to carry a child in my body for 9 months, stretching my body out of shape, and then to have a child and sign him over to you. No, I've heard black females say that. And that is selfish. So yes, black men, certain black men will end up hating and resenting her for killing a part of him and the moms. But again, I can't speak for all black men because there's a lot of brothers out there. And I think when it comes to the percentage of black men that support abortion versus that percentage that don't support abortions, I think that the percentage of black men that support abortion outweighs the percentage of black men that don't support abortions, right? So you have more black men that support abortion. Those are the ones that you see that's protesting along with women, saying it's her body, she do what she want to. And that could have a lot to do with the fact that many black men, since you asked me about black men, many black men have been damaged, have been hurt, have been destroyed by the child support system. Child support system has done more damage to the black community than we could ever realize or ever know. The child support system, because it's one-sided. And it takes precedence, money, child support takes precedence over a father being there in the child's life. So the man is forced to pay child support, or he's going to jail, or his license is going to be suspended, or something. But yet it's okay for that man not to be in his child's life. And then that child grows up to be a criminal, to be a menace to society, to become a slave of society, to bring in dollars because of their criminal involvement, criminal acts. You're now bringing dollars into the system. You become a slave. So when it comes to abortion, I think the number of black men that is for abortion outweighs the number of black men that's actually against abortion. And that will be willing to take their children and support them, although the mother don't want to carry the child. And I always say there's too many birth control methods out there, both for men, both for men and women, to not be careful. There's no excuse. And when it comes to rape or incest, well, we can stop using that excuse, because when you look at the number of black women that have aborted their children, I don't hear too many of them saying it's because of the fact that I've been molested or I've been raped. As a matter of fact, there's signs and billboards posted to say that the most dangerous place for a black child is in the womb of his black mother. That tells you the number of abortion that black women are having. And because of that, many black men have no respect for black women. None. They've lost respect for black women because somewhere in their life, maybe a woman aborted their child, they found out. And then you have guys that will offer to pay for the abortion. The woman comes and tells you she's pregnant. And the first thing the guy says, what do you want to do? And usually, brothers, when you ask a woman, so what do you want to do? Keep in mind, you're supposed to be the man. She tells you that she's pregnant. In many cases, she's already worried or nervous. Nervous and worried about the kind of response you'll give her. So she comes up and say, I'm pregnant. And you say, so what do you want to do? You're supposed to be the man, but you asking her, what do you want to do? And she already know how to interpret, what do you want to do? That means, do you want to abort the child? Do you want to kill it? Because now you're no longer a man. You're not man enough to take care of your child. So now you put that responsibility back onto her. What do you want to do? Instead of showing any type of excitement, saying, I love you, giving her a hug, embracing her, man, letting her know that, listen, we are going to bring in a very beautiful child. I'm going to be the best dad that you can ever imagine. And I know you're going to be the best mom that you can ever imagine. So instead of welcoming that child, you say, what do you want to do? So in answering your questions, how do you think black men feel about abortion? I think the percentage of black men that's for abortion and for pro-choice, I think it exceeds the percentage of black men that's anti-abortion. It exceeds. So there's more black men that's in favor of abortion than black men that's against abortion. And then when it comes to if his girlfriend or wife, especially if that's his wife, his girlfriend or his wife abort their child, even while they're together, I think that's a huge disrespect. And again, it really depends. It's really an individual basis, because I know if I find out that my girlfriend or my wife aborted my child, yes, I would resent her. I would hate her. I would despise her. I would want nothing to do with her. I don't want to hear no kind of excuses about how I'm not ready, and the excuses that many women come up with. I don't want to hear it, especially if she didn't sit down and discuss that with me, because women, although men help to produce a child, it only takes that woman to make the choice and decision of abortion. She don't even have to tell that guy that she's aborted. She can just go ahead and do it. And you got some females out there that's so grimy that while her body is recovering, she tells him, oh, it's a woman thing, and most guys don't know. And they're going to trust her anyway, and they're going to say, oh, okay, they're not going to think two things about it, but her body is recovering from an abortion. She aborted your child. And there's always somebody that knows. There's always one of her best friends or a family member of hers that know that she aborted your child. There's always someone that knows. So I think that's individual, but I do think that more men that's in favor, black men that's in favor of abortion, outweighs the number of black men that's against abortion. And yes, they will end up hating and resenting them, if that man loved that woman and he wants that child. Because there are, outside of what many black females say against black men, I don't think black men really hate black women. I really don't think that. I just think there's a lot of black females that just can't take, chastisement, they can't take it. They can't take verbal chastisement. They can't take correction. And they always interpret that correction as hate. You hate us. You hate black women. I don't think that's the case. I think there's more black men that love black women than black women would imagine. There's just things that brothers don't like, and you have more brothers that's now, outspoken about it. But hate, that's a strong word. I don't think that black men hate black women like that. There is a certain percentage that will come out and tell you, yeah, I hate you, and I'm dating outside of my race. Just like there's a percentage of black females that say that she hate black men and won't date black men, But I wouldn't say that all black women are that way. Sometimes it may seem like it, but that's not the case. So that's my answer to her question. I know I, mentioned more than, was asked, but what do I think about how the black men feel about abortion? I think that the percentage of black men in favor of abortion outweighs the percentage of those who don't, and would a black man end up resenting and hating the woman that aborts a child while they're together? Yes, depending on that man, and you got guys who don't care because they look at that as a freedom from child support. The child support system is a virus, man. It's deadly, man. In our communities, child support has done more damage, man. More damage because you got guys who's just stubborn, man, and don't feel that they should have to be forced to pay. And you don't have to be forced to pay, but that goes into another video. But that's what I have to say about it. So, it really depends on the individual person. But, the number of black men that's in favor of abortion, I think it outweighs the percentage of black men who's against abortion. I'm one of the ones who's strongly against abortion. And I think that if I end up getting with a woman and she end up getting pregnant, and if I feel, and I've always felt this way, even since in my teens, I've always thought this way, and I get her pregnant and I don't feel I'm ready for a child or I don't want a child, I always look at it like it's still my responsibility because I was grown enough to lay down and produce this child. Now I have to be grown enough or man enough to take care of this child that I helped bring in this world. I've always been a person that accept my responsibilities and don't run from them. That's what make a man is a man takes care of his responsibility and don't run from his responsibility. But any guy that runs from parenting, and you're more than willing to murder your child or allow the child's moms to murder your child, man. I just always felt it was demonic, man. And that says a lot about that so-called black man's character. Any guy that's in favor of abortion, man, it says a whole lot about your character. Even the female that aborts a child, that tells a whole lot about your character. And I think that could be one of the reasons why the black community is catching so much hell now. It's all a part of that curse, that's in the book of Deuteronomy. So feel free to comment. Tell me what you think. Subscribe. Until next time, I'm fearless.